Mark chapter 4, verses 21 to 25. It says this. He says, He said to them, "Do you bring in a lamp to put it under a bowl or a bed? Instead, don't you put it on its stand? For whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, and whatever is concealed is meant to be brought out into the open. If anyone has ears to hear, let them hear. Consider carefully what you hear," he continued. "With the measure you use, it will be measured to you, and even more. Whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them." This is the word of the Lord. And here comes Jeff to come and share with us. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you.
Thanks, James. James said, I'm coming to preach this morning. Well, hopefully I'm not going to be too preachy today. Just get my glass of water. Thanks very much, Nick. So we're looking at Mark chapter 4, verses 21 to 25. So it's a very short passage. And as you can see, it's two sections, or not. I did switch on, surprisingly. But here we go. Fantastic. So it's two short sections, and we're going to look at each section in turn. And both sections are challenging. Try again. There we go. Fine. So both sections are challenging. The first one is about a lamp on the stand. But just before we look at that in detail, just two things of context from where we are so far. We're taking a journey through Mark. And two things we want to pick up on that have been said before. First of all, Jesus' big idea was that we were his disciples. And last week we looked at the parable of the sower, and James reminded us that the seed being sown isn't just any seed. The seed is capable of bringing multiple blessings into barren lives. Okay, so just bear those two things in mind, that Jesus' big idea was for us to be his disciples, but also that the power of the seed that God is sowing into people's lives is going to bring multiple blessing in barren lives. Okay, so the question about this one that I've put forward is this one. That's a song we're going to sing in a minute. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Nick, could you do the honours for me? Thank you. So, Jesus is being revealed right now in our communities. What is my role in ensuring that happens? So what's my role in ensuring that happens? So, the lamp on the stand shows great light, but in the passage we see, what is hidden is going to be revealed. And when Jesus came, he started revealing what God's love for us is really like, because we saw in Jesus' life love, peace, we saw justice, and we saw sacrifice in him dying for us. So what is my role in ensuring that happens? And I've had three pictures that came to me, and what I'm sharing this morning is rather like the parable of the sower. As I scatter words, so hold on to the words that actually are for your little patch of soil, as it were. Because not everything I say will be relevant for you, but there may be one or two things that are. So grab those things and then just put them in your heart and let them grow and bring fruit. Okay, so the first one is this one. Nick, thank you. This is my friend Chameleon, okay? And I was thinking, sometimes I try to sort of be completely in the background, just like it is everywhere else. So a chameleon, doesn't it? It changes colour to fit in with what's going on. And that's not actually what putting a lamp on the stand is like. Yeah? So it's not like trying to fit in with everybody else. It may be that actually you have to stand out, not like a chameleon. And as I was thinking that, there's a song by Culture Club. Do you know that song? Yeah. Kama Kama Chameleon. And the next line is, you come and go, you come and go. So the next picture, Nick, do you remember these? Yeah, the old trafficators on the side of a car. They come and go, don't they? Okay. And so sometimes you can see them and sometimes you can't. And I thought, so, well, that's also another thing. I felt that was a picture for me too, that actually sometimes I can be seen, sometimes I'm not there. But then the next picture, thank you, Nick, this is what they call a sequential LED traffic indicator. And this is the one that goes like that, when you're turning right. And you can't fail to see it, can you? And you think, oh, what a flashy car. You've got these fantastic sequential LEDs. So those pictures to me just sort of challenge me about, well, do I fade into the background? Do people not see me? Or is it just that I'm a bit of a weak? Because those are quite weak, weren't they, those little trafficators that came out like that? Or am I more like something that's, this is like a sequential LED? I hope you enjoyed those little pictures. Thanks, Nick. So first of all, what is the lamp and the light in me? Now, I think these are the three things that I felt that I had in me. First of all is the gospel that I hold. Because as I've said yes to Jesus and I've had a relationship with him, that good news, I'm holding that in my life. I'm holding that. And so therefore I have a story of finding Jesus. And I have actions and values as I live my life out. So for me, that's the lamp and the light that's in me. Those are the things. Obviously, as well as the Holy Spirit living in me and all the other things that we would normally have as Christians. Those are the three things that came to me. And I felt that, when you hold something, you've got responsibility, haven't you? So it's precious to you. And so I thought, well, yes, the gospel I hold is important, that I hold it well and I look after it. And my story is powerful for some people. They would say, how did you come to know Jesus? What is your story, Jeff? How have you worked out your life when things have been difficult for you? And then people see what I do and how I live and my values. So those are the things that people see. And so the next question, thanks, Nick, is, so how do I put it on a stand? And I think the first thing is that again, the context is that we are disciples, and we're doing all the basics that disciples need to be doing. Building our relationship with God through prayer, through reading his word, etc. So what were these three things that I felt for me, it was for putting that light on the stand? Well, first of all, I have to be intentional about what I do. I have to actually decide, yes, that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting my lamp on a stand so that others can see. Fantastic word from Christine about Kevin's word about seeing Jesus on her. And for all the ladies, that you're closer to Jesus' heart than us men. Us men are very reticent at coming forward in church. So men, think about being intentional about letting your light be put on a lampstand. The second is that I find that sometimes I'm a bit fearful about being bold. Sometimes you have to say, actually, this is what God's saying to me. I need to do this, and I have to do it because it's what he's saying. But it requires overcoming that fear that I have about what other people will think. What if I've got it wrong? What if the person or whatever I'm going to be doing is rejected or it fails? But I have to be bold. And WYSIWYG is something I used to, when I was working with computers. WYSIWYG was something like, if you see something on the screen, that's actually what you're going to get. And so what you see is what you get. So if people see me, then that song we sang at the beginning, wasn't it? We want to shine from where? Inside out. So it's no good me being just a front of a wonderful person. I know I'm not that, but It's no good having a front. We have to be actually, what you see is actually what you get as me. And so those are just some things, the way that we can put our lamp on the stand. Thank you. Right. One final thing about putting a lamp on the stand. Have you got a mobile phone with you? Yes. If you have, pick it up. Okay. And turn on the torch. If you've got a torch on your phone, okay, and hold it up. Okay. Okay. Is it better just for me to have my torch like this, or is it better for all to have our torches shining? All, yeah. So it's something we do together. It's not just Jeff putting his lamp on the stand. It's all of us together putting our lamps on the stand. Because when we do it together, guess what? It shines brighter, yeah. So the basics of physics here again. You know, the lux in a room is do you know lux is the measure of light? Sorry if you didn't know that. It's the lux or lumens, whichever you want to call it. That's how you measure light in a room. So if you have one light, it has a certain number of lux. But if you have 50 to 60 lights, then the level of light and the lux goes up. So the brighter we shine, the more we do it together. So it's not just me. It's all of us putting our lights on that stand together. Right, okay. Thank you, Nick. Where are we? Oh, yes. So this is the second part of the passage. So I'm going to read this. If anyone is able to listen, let them do so. Pay close attention to what you hear, he went on. The measure you apply will be applied to you, and even more besides. To those who have more will be given, but to those who do not have, even what they think they possess will be taken away. Now, I know what you're thinking. Next slide, please, Nick. Resource management. Is that right? You all thought of rules, didn't you? See, Adam did. Okay, so we're thinking of resource management and all the things that is resource management, like resolving bottlenecks, getting the right people doing the right jobs, giving the right resources to the projects. And actually, resource management has some benefits. Thank you, Nick. And the benefits of resource management are you see the whole picture, you distribute the work appropriately, you set realistic goals, etc. But of course, this isn't consultant speak. That is consultant speak, I'm just speaking actually, because that's exactly what we used to do when I was at work, sort of things like that. But this, what Jesus is saying, isn't consultant speak. It's actually far more important. And we want to look at a couple of other verses as well around resource management. Thanks, Nick. And these two verses you'll recognise very clearly. Sorry, next one. Nick, sorry, thank you. The servant who understands the master's wishes but fails to prepare or act accordingly will face severe consequences. Wow. That's a bit hard, isn't it? Conversely, the servant who is unaware yet commits acts warranting punishment will receive lighter consequences. To whom much has been given, much will be expected. And to whom much more has been given, even more will be required. So Jesus was speaking again about what we've been given, we need to invest in the kingdom. And if we are given more and we do more, then more is required from us. And another verse, thank you, Nick, in Matthew 6. Do not accumulate treasure for yourselves on earth, where moths and pests can ruin, and where thieves can infiltrate and take away. Instead, gather for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor pest can spoil, and where thieves cannot breach and steal. For where your treasure resides, there your heart will be also. So, the other thing, anybody remember the Jim Reeves song about this? Can you remember that song? Jim Reeves song? This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. So what we're talking about here is around having a heavenly perspective and recognizing, in fact, here in Millend, in 2025, all of us in this room, we have been given a huge amount. Not just spiritually by the fact that we have found Jesus and we hold that gospel in our lives. But also, we are in the top percentile of physical wealth in the world. However we are today, we are in that top percentile of work. So we have been given a huge amount. And therefore the responsibility that we have is huge to invest that well in God's kingdom. So, thanks Nick. So some of the things that I thought about what the measures that I apply. So first of all is the gifting that I have and the motivations that I have. Those things that God has given me that I'm good at. Those are the things that I need to apply. What I do. My priorities, the things that I decide I'm going to spend my time and my resources and my money on. My opportunities. What are the opportunities that are presented to me day by day? How can I use those well? My place. Where am I? Where has God placed me at this moment, this day, this week, this month, this year? Which job is it right for me to put myself into? And my response to things that happen in my life. I had another picture which I thought was quite neat. But can you imagine a Premiership football team are playing a game, and it's really tight. It's 1-1 at half time, and the manager's looking around his sub-bench, and he's thinking, now who can I bring onto the pitch who's going to make the difference so that we're going to win this match? Okay. And he looks over, and he sees Jeff Hawkins, who's his reserve striker, and Jeff Hawkins is on his phone looking at something like that down here. He's not watching the match at all. And what's the manager going to do? He's thinking, do you know, perhaps Jeff isn't actually really, he's not really paying attention to what's going on the pitch. I better use somebody else. And I was really challenged by that because, you know, distractions, and in fact, this is actually a big distraction. And in the Practicing the Way course, we've been looking at actually maybe at night we should leave our phones downstairs, have nowhere near our bed. We should maybe making sure we are distracted by that particular thing. But, you know, there's so much distraction because we have so much. That's a blessing, but actually it can be a real challenge as well because we can't see beyond all the things we've got. And we don't really fully understand our need, but also the other people's needs who haven't got much. So I don't want to be on that subs bench overlooked by my manager. Do you? I don't think we do we? Because the mission that we have is so important. You know, that word, that seed we have is so incredibly powerful because it can bring multiple blessings to barren lives. And we are desperate, aren't we, to see God's kingdom grow and see that seed plant in people's lives. So I do not want to be on the subs bench. So, thanks, Nick. How do I have more? And I think we've been thinking, this is the answer, this is becoming quite clear, isn't it? Just do it. We have to invest what we have and do what God is calling us to do. And seize the moment. When you have an opportunity, make sure that what you sow into that person's life or into that particular situation is actually going to be right and have a kingdom mindset. And this is something that I'm growing in continuously. I'm 17 and have dyslexia. So I've had quite a long life. Did you get that one, by the way? You did, good. Just making sure. And as I get older, I get grayer, and actually I realise that some of the things that I thought was true in my formation of my life actually were not true at all, and I have to rethink my values about what I do. And so I have to think about, well, my world is not this home, I'm just a passing through. And I want to build that treasure in heaven where moths and pets cannot ruin and thieves cannot infiltrate and come. And the final thing that I want to say here, which is the thing which I didn't get onto the slide, is sometimes you have to be, and this is a word I felt specifically to say, you have to be an interrupter. Do you know what I mean by an interrupter? You have to actually say, well, actually, I don't think that's quite right. I don't think we should be going that way. I think we should be going this way. Or, I don't think we should be doing this. Have you thought about doing that? So it can be a bit of an unpleasant situation we find ourselves in when we are not following the crowd. We have to be an interrupter. Because it is so important, that gospel that we hold, that we have to actually say, hold on a minute, guys and girls. We just need to think carefully about what we're doing here. Or, do you really think that's the right course of action? And of course, that has to be done with love and with care and compassion, because being an interrupter can be quite a dangerous thing, because for some people, being a Christian interrupter means death today in 2025, because of interrupting what is going on. Okay. I think perhaps we can have the last slide now. Nick, thank you. Okay. A kingdom mindset. I'm going to use an illustration that David Pawson used in a sermon years ago. When you're flying over the desert in Egypt, or right across North Africa, there aren't any little walls to divide all the countries. But what happens is how countries are formed is where the power has come, the kingdoms are established. And so if a powerful kingdom comes, then the boundaries get extended. And so what a kingdom is where a power has influence. And what we want to do is we want to have a kingdom mindset whereby God's power, God's love, God's compassion, God's grace has influence. So God's kingdom is thinking about how we want to sow Jesus into our society today, where his word, his church has power and influence in what's going on. Is that helpful, Mark? Please talk to Mark later. He'll explain more as well about what God's kingdom is. Okay, so takeaways from this week. So the question for us individually is, well, how can I put my lamp in a better place? And I can't answer that question, because that's entirely up for discussion between us ourselves, isn't it? Between us and God. How can I put my lamp in a better place? Because it is so important that our lamp is seen, isn't it? We do not want to be kama kama chameleon, here I come and go, whatever the words are. That's a classic song, by the way, and I never really looked at the words before, but it's just right. You know, I don't want to come and go. I want to be consistent. What has God given me that I can invest in his kingdom? So it's really important, Mark, you ask that question. What is God's kingdom? What have I got? What talent have I got? What time have I got? What opportunity have I got? What money have I got? And I don't know what you have, but again, that's a question for us as individuals to say, well, what has God given me that I can invest in his kingdom? And it may be a question you have to ask every day. So when you wake up, where is it you want to invest in your kingdom today? And I know that a lot of you are busy people at work, and it can be all-consuming. But even so, just on the train or in the car on the way to work, what is it that you want me to invest today in your kingdom? And finally, a bit more consultant speak. We used to have stretch targets at work. And indeed, when you stretch and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, it helps the muscles to keep trim, doesn't it? Just do it. You can do that now if you like. If you fancy doing that, just do that. It's sometimes, oh yes, that shoulders, yeah. You know, stretching is important to keep our muscles and having a challenge. So what would stretch me this week? What would stretch me this week? And I'll have to think about that, but maybe being slightly more intentional about speaking to individuals that I know that would help. It would help. I'm not a very good people person, unlike my wife, who is the most amazing people person there is. And our pastor, of course, is also a good people person. But I'm not so good. There was a bit of a joke when I first started working with people that give me a machine gun every day and I can sort any pastoral problem out. But no, I don't do that. That was just a joke. But as I said, I'm growing, as I'm now 17. And so I've learned to be stretched out in this particular people-person issue. But for us, it's important that we find what is the stretch for me. Now, usually when we talk in the CAP stuff, we say, have a goal that's measurable and achievable. Well, I'm actually saying, maybe you think about, if you can say, I can achieve that, you want to stretch it a bit. Isn't it? It's better to stretch, isn't it? Stretch out and stretch what we can do. So, God has given us so much. And these passages are the same. You know, when I came to prepare this sermon, or talk, whatever it's called it, I was almost tempted to copy and paste the answers to both passages in, because they're very similar in what they're saying, even though they're completely different. One's about a lamp on the stand, and one's about what you have may be taken away from you, but it's exactly the same. It's what is our response to the responsibility we have of disciples of Jesus. My final word is to people who do not know how much God's power in their life can bring blessing from barrenness. So if you feel right now that there's a barrenness in your life, or there's an emptiness, or there's a hole, or there's a bit missing, I just invite you now to say, Jesus, come into that hole, into that barrenness, into that thing that's missing, and bring your multiple blessings so that I may have your life and life in its fullness. Let's just pray together, shall we? Thank you, Jesus, that you said, I've come to bring life and life in its fullness. Lord, I want to receive that seed of life into my life now. Make my heart a good soil and a place for it to grow and bring multiple blessings into my life. I give myself to you afresh. Take me just as I am, with all my faults and all the things I've done in the past, all the times that I've said no to you. Just take me afresh, Lord. I give myself to you afresh. Show me how to be a lamp on a stand. Show me how to invest in your kingdom. Because, Lord, I want to see your glory and your kingdom come here on earth. For Jesus' name's sake, amen.